students. This is your Maria ma'am back with a new chapter. I think so. We have learned many chapters online. Hope so. This chapters to be the last chapter. Let us meet early. I think so. So this is a new chapter I am dealing with, that is environmental issue, which is chapter 16. Whenever you hear the word environmental issues means arisal of the problem already existing in the environment. So this chapter is an what do you tell value based chapter also, we can tell. And there are many things to be understood in this chapter: how to keep up our environment, how to maintain the environment, how to keep our surrounding ourselves, how to get rid of the pollution. So all this we will be learning in this chapter. Okay, let us get into the chapter. Coming to environmental pollution, what do you mean by pollution actually? As the population increases, as the human population increases, there is a great demand in the extended on the environment, that is for our requirement. We demand many things like buildings, okay, and by that, what do? We go for the deforestation. Cutting of the plants, raw materials are required for the industries. So this all together we call it as to be the anthropogenic causes, like urbanization, as I told you, over exploitation, industrialization, along with the emission and effluence of polluted air, polluted water, polluted soil, and whatever we use in our ecosystem, we are only exploiting them, and this causes pollution, right? So look at the picture, the garbage, accumulation of the garbage on the soil, accumulation of the dirt in the water, then accumulation of the what do you tell particulate matters in the air. So as the population increases, as the need for the man increases, of course we are the only reason for causing pollution in our own environment. Okay, so what we can define pollution to be as: pollution is any undesirable change in physical, chemical, or biological characteristic of air, land, water, or soil. Okay, so the agents which cause pollution, what do we call it as? We call it as pollutants. So yeah, so agents that causes pollution, we call it as a pollutant. Okay, so remember that's what I told, no, due to the anthropogenic causes, that is man-made causes. They are man by the man only. The pollution has occurred in our surroundings, so that's why we also call it as a anthropogenic causes. Human population explosion increases the demand for the food, for the water, for the home, electricity, automobiles, etc. So this all definitely leads to pollution. So when the pollution increases also government has to act upon it, because again it affects the man itself. It may cause death also by polluting the water, soil, and the air. So what happened at this time? Government of India had passed the Environmental Protection Act in 1986 to control environmental pollution and protect and improve the quality of our environment. So this was an act put up by the government. So the act is passed. Is it activated? When we see the dirt around us in most of the cities, or in the place where we live also, are we aware of pollution? I don't think so. Is this act is been activated? If it is activated, so very polluted won't be our, I mean the surrounding the places, especially in city sites. You can see the accumulation of a garbage might be, and the water might be. I can give example as Bangalore only. Once upon a time it was called as a garden city, and now we regard it to be as a garbage city. Wherever you go, you can see the dumping yard of the garbage than the human population. The garbage population is more, I believe. So this is all why because of a increase in demand of the human population. So the waste cannot be degraded and it gets accumulated, which causes again the problem to the human being itself. So whenever we talk about the pollutant is classified based on its physical nature, means such as a solid, liquid, gaseous, and weightless pollutants also. So if we consider the origin, so the pollutants can also be classified based on their ability to degrading. It is classified as biodegradable pollutants and non-biodegradable pollutants. So whenever we tell biodegradable, bio means the pollutant which can be degraded by the microbes. Even microbes, we are able to digest it and make it into manure. Okay, that what we call it as biodegradable pollutants. For example, organic waste like garbages, sewage, livestock waste, means cow dung, grasses, litter, all those, these are biodegradable pollutants. Then what are non-degradable pollutants means which are not at all degraded, or they cannot be diluted or digested by any organism. Which are those? Such as polythene bags, plastics, glass bottles, pesticides like DDT, then benzene, hexachloride, heavy metals, etc. So these are very difficult to manage and they get accumulated in the ecosystem. Again, it creates a threat to the ecosystem itself. So whenever we talk this non-degraded pollutant, we hear a song also, no? Early morning, the garbage man comes with a song telling carry the cloth bags to the shop, stop using plastics because plastics cannot be diluted or degraded or decomposed. Are we following? We hear the song, again put the dust into the is van, go back to sleep. This is what happening in India. So okay, the whole India, this is what happening. That's why we are not getting rid of the pollution, nor the air pollution, nor the water pollution, nor the soil pollution. So we talk about pollution, but we are not activating to control the pollution. So people, when they get activated, maybe 10% of pollution can be controlled. It has to be started by students like you. That's why this chapter is also been kept to understand what is pollution, what it will do to the next generation. Okay, if we spoil our own earth mother, okay, the next generation people will have to face it, right? So that what this chapter is kept for you to telling how to keep your own environment. Okay, so this all are, as I told you, they are all non degraded pollutants such as polythene bags, plastics, and even some glass bottles also. Okay, so this we should have an aim in our mind telling let me not use plastic. We tell, are we doing? You should ask yourself. Okay, so this is a type of pollutants. Now let us understand the types of pollution. So as I mentioned here, what is pollution means undesirable change in air, water, soil. So let us go one by one. We will discuss with the topic air pollution. Okay, air pollution and its control. So, how do you define air pollution as? What is air pollution? So, air pollution, we can define it as an undesirable change in atmospheric air due to human intervention, which makes air unfit for human use and for the survival of the flora and fauna. You know, it is most common and dangerous pollutions. The major sources of air pollutions are they are nearly automobiles, industries, power plants, agricultural operations. Okay, so here some of the photographs you can see, that is industries, automobiles, then burning of the fuels, Okay, so all this when it comes into the air, what it does, it do, it will spoil the air medium itself. That what we call it as air pollution, which is undesirable to inhale by the human being or also by the other living organisms. So we are the people, we breathe by inhaling oxygen. When this pollutant particulate matter enter our lungs, what will happen, just you think? So that's why we call it as to be the pollutant. So here, the particulate and gaseous air pollutants from the smokestacks of the thermal power plants, smelters, etc. The pollutants also from automobiles. So these are being excreted. Usually we tell the major sources of air pollutions are only this with the pictures which have focused to know all this. In India, especially in the cities we come across, in India, the most polluted cities means Bombay, Delhi, Madras, Calcutta, Kanapur, and Ahmedabad. These are all most air polluted cities. While outside India means also they are the developed countries. Even in developed countries, they face the same thing. Why means, see, when you were young or in our times also, cycles were being used. People used to travel in cycles, and animals were used like horse were used, donkeys were used, chatka vehicles were there to carry the people from one place to another place. Now, what we find in cities, we find the cab, we find the autos, okay, all these buses. Do we find any people riding cycles and moving from one place to another? No, it has become a toy for the children. The parents buy cycles for their young children to what like in a toy, but it is not used as a transportation, and no animals is used like a transportation. Only in some villages they uses the cows also for oxen also for the transportation of the goods, but not in cities. In cities, in every house, each person will be having his own vehicle. Now, increase in the number of the population with increase in the number of the vehicle, what happens to that city? They start burning the fuels in their vehicles, such as petrol and diesel. So when it burns, what happens? The smokes comes out, ejects out, and enter into the air. Where it will go again? It surrounds him only. No, the vehicle smokes when it comes out the exhaust. Where it surrounds its own car only. As it moves, even that moves. So each person in a house, 6 person are there, means six also will be having a different vehicles to move out and get in. So all the six works in a different places, and all the six will ride the car in the morning and come in the evening. What will be the status? Let us think about that. No, so that what I told. No, man only does everything. He only pollutes his own environment. Like no aliens will come from other planet to pollute your environment. You are only polluting your own environment for your comfortableness. So that what is a main cause for air pollution, I can tell you. So according to Central Pollution Control Board, that is a CPCB, particulate size of less than 2.5 nanometer in diameter, PM 2.5 causes greatest harm to the human health. It should have been seen. Most of them will get asthma. It causes bronchitis, allergies, and such things. When it becomes chronic, it may lead to death also. So that's what we tell regarding air pollution, how dangerous it is about. Okay. So these are some of the harmful effects of the air pollution. So when we see here the picture, here you can see a comparison between a relatively healthier lung. This is a healthier lungs, and left to that lung of a person who is staying in Delhi itself. So Delhi is regarded the what do you tell, the highest risk to stay there because it is highly polluted place. Which Delhi? See this lung by this only we to know, look at the accumulation of the particulate, no, and here you can see the plants, how they are getting dried up by the pollution, that is particulates. So yeah, particulates causes respiratory problems, irritation, inflammation means burning, and damage to the lungs and premature deaths. So I told no, it may lead to, if the chronic effects of the bronchitis occurs, sometimes it leads to death also. Reduction in the growth and yield of crops also, and premature death of the plants also. So by pollution also death may occur. That what we call it as a premature deaths. So these are literally the harmful effects of the air pollution. Now, how do we control? Look at this picture. All children are holding it. That's why this chapter is kept for you. Again and again, I will tell you. You are the future generation. You have to save the world and stop using the plastic. You start from your house so that it may spread, and a solution may be got by children only. It is said. See, we have the solution in this picture. It is understood the strength of our country is our children. So it has to start from you to stop pollution. So let us read some of the safety measurement, how to control air pollution. So separate, filter out particulate matters before releasing the harmless gases into the atmosphere. This step has to be taken. You should use lead-free petrol or diesel. You should use a catalytic converter. You should phasing out of the old vehicles. So this is followed in Delhi. They tell, like if it runs of some kilometers, the vehicle will be dumped into the dumping yard. It seems, or usually the people will sell it to the other states. So nowadays we also see many Delhi vehicles in our area. Means also sometimes I feel that, I don't know, like there due to the no, there is some rating of the vehicles up to this kilometer it runs. Maybe if it is purchased 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years, it is new also, it will be sold. Okay, so that is what is the meaning of the phasing out of the old vehicles. Use of for lower sulfur petrol and diesel. Application of pollution level norms for vehicles, like emission test they will do. No, if the emission test is not done and the exhaust is too much from the vehicle, such vehicles will be seized. Okay, that is what we call it as norms. Certain rules will be applied by the traffic police, which we have to follow. We have to follow means it's not a punishment. That means we are saving our own environment. Sometimes you can see we have heard like instead of petrol they put kerosene, and they run the vehicles like autos and all. That too, it is extraordinary when they put the kerosene and the vehicle runs, or the petrol or diesel, if it is adulterated with a mix up of kerosene, what happens? You can see black thick smoke coming out of the exhaust of the vehicles. So such things occurs means we are only poisoning our own environment. So the police people will should check the do the emission, whether it is done or not, and so such norms even we have to follow. Then use of compressed natural gas, that is CNG. Okay, let us talk this in depth also. So firstly, coming to the catalytic converter, see, these were all tried in Delhi. Okay, these were all tried because those usually cities are said to be highly polluted areas. In the Delhi is the first, it acquires the first place there. So the device to reduce emission of poisonous gases in this catalytic converter, usually costly metals are used, such as platinum, you know, it is costlier than gold. So catalytic converter, using it or installed cars are not so very less bounded. They might be very costly, because if you use platinum, palladium, rhodium as a catalyst, this converts, what it does, unburnt hydrocarbons to carbon dioxide plus water. Then carbon monoxide is converted to carbon dioxide. Nitric oxide is converted to nitrogen. Nitrogen, carbon dioxide, water are the compatible to the air. So these catalytic converters, they will convert this all to the applicable gas into the air, so which is compilable to the human beings and also for the living organism, which will not cause any harm. So these catalytic converters are measure for controlling the air pollution. So motor vehicles having catalytic converter should use unleaded petrol, so because lead inactivates the catalyst. So petrol, the such catalytic converters, it requires a petrol which does not has a metal lead. If it has lead, then it is of no use. Why it is of no use? Because the catalyst will not activate in the presence of the lead. So lead shouldn't be in the petrol, then only the catalytic converter can activate. So how far the catalytic converter can be implemented, and quite costly it is also. Implementation is very far. So thinking where do we get the unleaded petrol, such station we have to go in search petrol pump and all. In every petrol pump, do we check whether it is having lead, whether it is not having lead? If they have done adulterate mixing with kerosene also, we don't know. Do we know? No. So it cannot be applicable to the layman, I believe. So what is the advantages of CNG? What do you mean by CNG? This is one question. See, what is CNG means? It is the compressible natural gas, it is, right? So whenever we think of this, usually in Delhi it is said to use such things, and the measures are taken to activate this also. Why we have to use a CNG? How it is better than that of the activators? So such things will come in our mind also. So compressed natural gas, usually this compressed natural gas use, it was been what is it, a command or a direction given by the Supreme Court of India to solve the air pollution problem in Delhi. So when this act was been activated, or when they had instruction was given by the Supreme Court to the Delhi government, the government directed to take appropriate measure within a specified time. So the entire fleet of public transport was asked immediately to switch over from diesel to compressed natural gas. That is, here the Supreme Court ordered all the transportation. Now we know no KSRTC in our Karnataka. Transportation means KSRTC, that is bus transportation of the government, or all the vehicles which are meant for transportation, they should change from a diesel, they should start using the CNG. So this was the rules been followed in Delhi. All the buses of Delhi were converted to run on a CNG by the end of 2002 itself. So how far it has an advantage? What are the advantage? Why we have to use compressor instead of diesel? That is a question. So here the picture also I have shown you. Instead of petrol or diesel, they have to change their engine for the CNG. So how far it is better than the petrol? It is better and cheaper than petrol and diesel. It burns almost completely. It cannot be sniffed off. This is very important. Usually, there will be many thieves near the house. If many bikes are standing out, today you have put 5 liter, and by tomorrow you come and see there won't be petrol only, and it will be sniffed off. That is my stolen by the thieves here. But gas, how they can sniff now, that is one better advantage, I think so. So it cannot be sniffed off by the thieves, and it cannot be adulter also. So the main problem of CNG was that the difficulty of laying down the pipelines to deliver CNG through distribution points or pumps. Now you have a petrol pump. As you go on moving, petrol will, when we see the readings, if the petrol is getting less, we search in a petrol pump, we get it fill. Like that, petrol pumps and points for distribution of this gas availability is very difficult. So that is a main problem with it. But CNG is very easy on the engine with lesser running cost also. And you should be knowing it is completely burns, unlike petrol or diesel, reductions the emission of carbon dioxide nearly by over 90%. This is a drastic reduction in relatively hydrocarbon emissions. See, when the emission smoke becomes less, that means the pollution, air pollution, we are able to control it. So the government wanted to activate it. But the problem of where it arises, I told you the point, and the underlining the pipelines, installing the pumps, there it becomes very difficult. So, but it improves the fuel consumption and engine efficiency. There is reduction in the air toxic emission nearly up to 90%. It seems. It also reduces the demand for petroleum supply also. So there are many advantages than disadvantages. But disadvantages is that only one difficulty we have with that. That is, we cannot distribution of points and pumps. So in meanwhile, what does the government did? The government of India had laid a structural plan to cut down vehicular pollution in Indian cities through a new auto fuel policy. According to this policy, there must be steady reduction in sulfur and aromatic content in the petrol and diesel. For example, Euro for example, you should be knowing Euro 2 norms stipulates that sulfur content to be controlled at 350 parts per million ppm in diesel and 150 parts per million in petrol. Aromatic hydrocarbons are to be contained of nearly 42% of the concerned fuel. So this was really the goal. We will talk about the goal later. Now coming to the control measures. In the control measures, how to control the air pollution. So industries and thermal power plants released nearly large amount of contaminated air particulate matter along with harmless gases. This pollutant must be separated before releasing the harmless gases into atmosphere. These pollutants could be checked by using various methods. So in that various methods, here the picture is showing two method, which is of the textbook only picture I have put. One is electrostatic precipitator, another one is scrubber. Okay, so coming to electrostatic precipitator, see this one. This is electrostatic precipitator. Electrostatic precipitator. Now, how it works here, I have given here. So, it is a device to remove what particulate matter. It can remove nearly 99% of particulate matter present in the exhaust from a thermal power plant. Okay, then the electrons released from, see, the electron released from the electrode wires at several thousand volts attached to the dust particles, giving them a negative charge. The collecting plates attract the charged dust particles because they are positively charged. In the picture, I'll explain. See, So here the dirty air enters here. As soon as it enters here, here they will be having the negative plate rods here. So these negative plate rods, what happen? They will charge all these dust particles, and these dust particles, when they are charged, they are called as a discharge corona. Then these negatively charged particles will move into the positively charged plates. So these dust particles will get attracted by this positively charged plates, and you can see the clean air goes out. So this what we call it as electrostatic precipitator. The dust all will be collected on these plates, and the plates will after the collection of the dust, the plates will be removed and it will be clean. So this how you can clean the dirty air. So this equipment we call it as what? Electrostatic precipitator. I think so you understood. Okay, so they tell electrostatic precipitator can remove 99% of the particulate matter from the exhaust of a thermal plant. So this is one. The second one is a scrubber. Okay, so scrubber means that word whenever we use scrubber means usually we think of a scrubber which is used to wash clothes and all, to remove the dirt like a brush. That also we do call it as scrubs. So yeah, the velocity of air between the plates must be low and go to allow the dust to fall. This is in electrostatic precipitator. That is here. Now coming to the scrubber, here you can see this is a scrubber. In the scrubber, you can see the dirty air is entering here. Okay, when the dirty air enters here, it is like a little cone, like a tank here, and above you can see a pipe is connected. This pipe will shower. You can see here it is showering or like a spray. Okay, it is showering lime water. So what happened? This experiment you have been done in chemistry labs also sometime. When the lime water, that is a scrubber, removes gases like usually SO2. In this, the exhaust is passed through a spray of water, that is water of or lime. So very small particulates are not removed by these precipitators, but a large particulate matter will be removed. So when it appears, I mean lime water is flowed or sprayed on the a gas, that is dirty air, all so the most of the big particulate matter will come and settle down here, and later this particulate matter which is been accumulated will be removed and the clean air goes out. So this what we call it as scrubber. So that is regarding the air pollution and the controlling measures and the use of catalytic converters. So I have told there three controlling measures. One was a catalytic converter, another one was a scrubber, and the third one was electrostatic precipitator. Three we have discussed. Now what has happened before and all, we used to study noise pollution to be as a separate topic. Now noise pollution is also considered to be the one of the air pollution. So noise is undesired high level of sound. You know what is a noise? Usually if it tell means it is a loud explosive, it is as I know, unpleasant, unwanted sound which is dumped into our environment, or which causes discomfort, you see, to hear. You are not able to hear. So such things only we call it as noise. So you may feel I put with a high volume of songs. Is that that is noise for the people who don't like it sometime, but you may like, no, you may not feel it is a noise, you are accepted. So for some it might be noise. So if you have a confusion, clear here. Okay, noise is what? Undesired high level of sound. We are not able to accept it in the mind. Means the headache starts, the drum starts paining. Okay, those all only be considered as a noise. In India, one of the act is there. If this, according to this act, if you activate, nobody will ride the bike in usually in front of the schools, colleges, or near the hospital. So you would have been seeing your own friends, yourself also sometimes with a vehicle with a sound telling I am coming, like that, with a heavy sound. If you move and if somebody complain, even you will be played on this act. Okay, so be careful. So making a loud sound is also not good. According to what? According to this act. In India, the Air Act 1981 was amended in 1987. It includes noise as an air pollutant. Yeah, see, noise pollution. The sources of noise pollution. See, can you have written the four? All the four are the sources of noise pollution, which are those music instruments, loudspeaker, crackers, and also industry. What is this industry? In the industry, they will put in a siren, a bang. That siren also, if it irritates somebody, also that is also we call it as a noise pollution. So, what are the harmful effects of the noise? It causes psychological, physiological disorders, sound level above that. What we keep on telling the children, and that don't use earphones too much. When you see video, also children, I'm telling, keep full sound and go into a room and see it, hear it neatly instead of putting earphone. So earphone is also not so very good. It may cause psychological and physiological disorders. So sound level, how much it has to be? It has to be above 150 dp generated. Takeoff of a jet plane or rocket may also damage eardrums. So chronic exposure to, see, sound level above 150 dp means danger. So exposure to relatively lower noise also may damage hearing abilities of the humans. Then what are the effects? Means the sleeplessness, increased heartbeat also, and breathing stress. This all are the effects of noise pollution. So usually whenever they put a cracker sound suddenly, the heartbeat of older persons or the children, the beat level increases. So that's why when you burn the crackers also, you should be very careful, take the measures. So control of noise pollution. What is the control of noise pollution? Means use of the sound absorbent materials in the industry, then delimitation of horn free zones around, say I told you now, hospitals and schools, then permissible sound levels of crackers and loudspeakers, delimit the timings of using loudspeakers. You would have been known, there are rules after 10 o'clock. The heavy sound music shouldn't be horned in surrounding of the hospitals, because there might be heart patients and all. So they may get collapsed. So this all are the measures taken. Okay. Okay. Coming to the laws and policies in India to control vehicular pollution, that is already I have talked, that is auto fuel policy to cut down the vehicular pollution in the Indian cities. So for example, they have to follow Euro 2 norms. Euro 2 norms means this is a rule which has to be followed. So what is the first rule? Control of a sulfur content at 350 ppm. What do you mean by ppm? Parts per million. ppm means, here and down I have written parts per million in diesel and 150 ppm in petrol. So level of aromatic hydrocarbon is to be at nearly 42% of the fuel. In future, reduce the sulfur to 50 ppm. In petrol and diesel, bring down the level to the 35%, and you have to upgrade the vehicle engine. So you have to check the engines, how it is, and you should do the emission test, so that the exhaust will leave not very thick black smoke. So those and all we have to check ourselves. So if you consider Bharat stage 2, which is equivalent, this is one more example in auto fuel policy, but that I have not written here. I just tell it is equivalent to Euro 2 norms itself, which is currently applicable only in India. This norms is for throughout India. In Delhi, which is applicable rules, means it is Bharat stage 2. So according to this, it is applicable to Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, even Bangalore, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Pune, Surat, Kanapur, and Agra. The same was applicable throughout the country from from April 1st, 2005. From that date, even Bharat stage 2 norm was started applicable to throughout India, it seems. What is that rule? In that rule, what is told? All automobiles and the fuels in the above mentioned 11 cities had to meet the Euro 3 emission specifications test by April 1st, 2005, and had to meet the Euro 4th norm by April 1, 2010. But we should make the thanks to such efforts which was made, the air quality of Delhi was immediately significantly improved itself by those four norms. According to an estimate, a sustainable fall in carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide level has been found in Delhi in between, if they take uh, values between how much to how much it has reduced, means when they found, it was quite in from 1997 to 2005, and they found the particulate matter, there was a fall in what is volume of carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide in the air by taking such steps. So that has to be followed throughout the country, then we can get rid of the air pollution also. So this is regarding air pollution. See, when we talk about air pollution, children, when we talk about the source, we can talk about source of carbon dioxide, source of sulfur dioxide, source of nitrogen dioxide. By that also what affects, it's very brief. But I have here explained according to the NCRT. So try to follow the textbook with that of my explanation. Try to see the video 2 to 3 times. Try to understand this. I don't know how far the online classes may go on. Try to read my question answer, write the question answer, learn it, and still if you have doubt, please do contact me, children. I don't know, sometimes I feel you have to rely on online classes also. So don't neglect, try to understand the video. And still, if you feel difficult doubt, you're always welcome to ask me, children. Okay, thank you.